Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I want to recognize all the veterans here. This is why we're here tonight, to recognize and honor you. Would you please stand at this time so we could give you a round of applause? All of our veterans in the audience. Thank you so much for being here tonight. This program is for you. And we're glad you're here tonight. Again, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a celebration of our veterans presented to you by the Bob Barr and Smith Station Community Bands. Also in performance this evening are a select group of choir members from area high schools and religious organizations. I am Jimmy Modis, and I will serve as your MC for this spectacular music event. We do have some special guests, or we were expecting some special guests other than all of you in our audience tonight. First of all, I would like to introduce a lady that was the first female member of the Jordan High School Band back in 1945, and she is Phyllis Corley Sheehan. Phyllis, could you stand up, please, so we could recognize you? Right there. I know our mayor, Skip Henderson, and Karen Henderson were invited. Dr. David Lewis, our school superintendent, and Mr. Ryan Hudson. And I'm not sure if any of those are here. If you are, please stand so we can recognize you. Before we get started with our program, I would like to bring the band director from Jordan High School, Mr. Jeremy Webster, and he will be introducing the color guard that will be posting our colors tonight. Mr. Webster.
Good evening. So to introduce the JDHS JROTC Color Guard, who will be here with Lieutenant Colonel Melvin Jackson. The national colors: Cadet Private Sergio Magana, State Flag Cadet First Sergeant Tristan Rummy, Guard Cadet Private King Nipper, Guard Cadet Private First Class Ralph Ramon. Also included on Color the Guard, Cadet Private First Class Makai Evans, Cadet First Lieutenant Olivia Arredondo, Cadet First Lieutenant Derek Trochet, and Cadet Second Lieutenant Ariana Alamos.
Thank you, Mr. Webster. Appreciate that. Please rise, ladies and gentlemen, as the Jordan High School Junior ROTC, under the command of Sergeant Major Alan Gibson, presents our nation's colors. And please remain standing for our Pledge of Allegiance to the flag, followed by the singing of our national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And now our national anthem, the Star Spangled Banner. Please join me in the singing. But One more round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, for the Jordan High School Junior ROTC today. We begin our program this evening with a classic march of world renown. In 1914, Lieutenant F.J. Ricketts, pen-named Kenneth Alford, composed this popular march, which has been used by soldiers in 5 countries around the world, including the United States of America. Smith Station conductor Dr. Rusty Corson conducts our Veterans Day wind musicians in Kenneth Alford's Colonel Bogey. Band composer David Halsinger is one of the most inspiring writers of band literature. Formerly the minister of music at Shady Grove Church in Grand Prairie, Texas, Halsinger joined the faculty of Lee University in Cleveland, Tennessee as conductor of the Lee University Wind Ensemble. His music is often set in trends of faith. Plantation spirituals are songs that were sung by African American Christians during slavery. Coming about in the 1800s, they were originated in the United States when slaves came over to the New World and Africans converted to Christianity. Beginning in the 1800s, this moving musical genre would allow the slaves to sing spirituals by verbalizing their religious faith. Were You There When They Crucified My Lord is an African American spiritual that was first published in William Barton's Old Plantation Hymns in 1899. The spiritual probably predates the Civil War and was likely composed by enslaved African Americans in the 19th century. Bob Barr Community Band conductor Dr. Oliver Boone comes to the podium to conduct our Veterans Day Band in David Halsinger's Beautiful on an American Spiritual. of the Caribbean is an epic blockbuster movie in American history. Everyone is familiar with Captain Jack Sparrow and the Black Pearl. The movie series has grossed over $4.5 billion. Composer Klaus Badelt has set this classic cinema event to music. We welcome conductor Dr. Corson back to the podium as the band performs Pirates of the Caribbean. In the mid to late 1980s, while attending training at Coast Guard Training Center, Yorktown, Virginia, Mark Ashley started playing music in his head while walking, marching, to and from class every day. Each day he kept adding parts until what he called the Coast Guard Day March. Not being a musician, it took a couple of years hunting and pecking while trying to find the right notes and get the music on paper. In the fall of 1989, he sent this music to the Coast Guard Band in New London, Connecticut, and learned that the music needed to be orchestrated. In January of 1990, he sent a copy of the orchestrated version to the Coast Guard Band and later learned it needed to be put into individual parts for the band to play. So it went in a box for 22 years. Forward, 22 years later, March of 2012, while looking through some boxes in the basement, he happened to find the music. By this time, computer programs were available, and it was scheduled for the Coast Guard Band to perform in Kansas City. After hearing a recording of it for the first time, he had the opportunity to actually hear the music played and identified several problems. Not sure what to do next, the music sat around again for several more years. Over 30 years since the project began, through the assistance of the music department of William Jewell College, the piece was finally completed. The Kansas City Wind Symphony first performed this music during the spring concert of May 2022. Conductor Dr. Boone returns to the podium to conduct the band in the southeastern premiere of Mark Ashley's Coast Guard Day March. Tyler Arcari, who resides in Smith Station, Alabama, is a young composer who is quickly achieving world acclaim. To Soar with Broken Wings is a beautiful piece composed by Arcari, inspired by the true events of a young student who was taken far too early from us as a result of cancer. In memory of all those who have battled this horrific disease and truly soared with broken wings, Dr. Corson conducts Tyler Arcari's To Soar with Broken Wings. Wasn't that a beautiful number? And just to think that the gentleman that wrote that lives just across the river in Smith Station, Alabama. Today is a special day for all of us. Veterans Day is a U.S. legal holiday dedicated to American veterans of all wars. In 1918, on the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, an armistice or temporary cessation of hostilities was declared between Allied nations and Germany in World War I, then known as the Great War. Commemorated in many countries as Armistice Day, the following year, November the 11th became a federal holiday in the United States in 1938. In the aftermath of World War II and the Korean War, Armistice Day became known as Veterans Day. Today, we pay tribute to all veterans. Dr. Boone conducts the band with this Armed Forces medley. We kindly ask that all who served or had family who served to please stand when your branch of service is played, so we may honor you and salute you. Ladies and gentlemen, Armed Forces on Parade. The United States Marines. The United States Navy. The United States Air Force. The United States Coast Guard. veterans, please stand. Be recognized. The military has had a long history of the genre known as a march. Simply put, it is a cadence set to music for troops to march. I am sure many of you marched to this next one. John Philip Sousa is known as the March King. While serving as the commander of the U.S. Marine Band in 1888, Sousa was inspired after listening to his comrades sing their beloved hymn. Of his 136 marches composed, it is considered by Sousa to be his best work. Dr. Corson conducts the band in John Philip Sousa's immortal Semper Fidelis. This next number has a lengthy introduction, so y'all bear with me, please. Another blockbuster American movie, Saving Private Ryan, is a 1998 American epic war film directed by Steven Spielberg and written by Robert Rodet. Set in 1944 in France during World War II, it follows a group of soldiers led by Captain John Miller, played by Tom Hanks, on their mission to locate Private James Francis Ryan, played by Matt Damon, and bring him home safely after his three brothers are killed in action. Based on factual events of the five Sullivan brothers, who were World War II sailor brothers of Irish-American descent from Waterloo, Iowa, They were serving together on the light cruiser USS Juno when all were killed in action during and shortly after its sinking around November the 13th, 1942. Additionally, the Nealon brothers were 4 American brothers of Irish descent from Tonawanda, New York, who served in the military during World War II. Survived the war, but for a time was believed to have not survived. After the reported deaths of his 3 brothers, Fritz was sent back to the United States to complete his service, and only later learned that his brother Edward, missing and presumed dead, was actually a captive in a Japanese POW in Burma. Noted composer John Williams set the music to the classic film. His film, To the Fallen, sets to music as Private Ryan returns with his family to the cemetery where his captain rests. A moving moment in American history, this music reminds us of the price many paid for their service, a debt we can never repay. The last words of Private Ryan, Captain, played by Tom Hanks, tells him to earn this, a simple meaning that Ryan needs to live his life in a manner that would honor those who gave their lives to the fallen. Please allow us just a few moments to arrange our stage as we bring in our choir members. Once again, we appreciate y'all being with us here tonight to honor our veterans on this Veterans Day. Give yourselves another round of applause. While they're getting positions, we want to thank Ms. Casey Ward and Mr. Cedric Charles Epps from Northside High School and from Jordan High School for bringing their choirs with us to us tonight. Also, we have some members from area churches that are joining our choir as well. Let's give them a round of applause. Another blockbuster movie, We Were Soldiers Once and Young, is the catalyst for this next piece, Mansions of the Lord. A beautiful hymn set to music, dedicated to all true warriors everywhere, past and present, who, whether in battle or in peace, have struggled and sacrificed for the sanctity of life, the dignity and liberty of humanity, and the fundamental truth that resides in every heart, unity and universal love. With Dr. Corson conducting, and as the choir sings, listen closely to the words. To fallen soldiers, let us sing, where no rockets fly, nor bullets wing. Our broken brothers, let us bring to the mansions of the Lord. Dr. Corson. The Battle Hymn of the Republic, also known as Mine Eyes Have Seen the Glory, or Glory, Glory, Hallelujah, outside of the United States, is a popular patriotic song written by the abolitionist writer Julia Ward Howe during the American Civil War. Howe adapted her song from the popular soldier's song, John Brown's Body, in November of 1861, and first published them in the Atlantic Monthly in February of 1862. The tune and some of the lyrics of John Brown's Body came from a much older folk hymn called Say Brothers Will You Meet Us, also known as Glory Hallelujah. The piece has become a musical icon of freedom and praise. Please join us as our choir and band, with Dr. Boone conducting, proudly presents the Battle Hymn of the Republic. one more round of applause for the Bob Barr Community Band and Smith Station Community Band and the fine students from Northside High School and Jordan High School and area churches. Thank you very much for helping us celebrate our nation's veterans. Thanks to Mr. Ryan Hudson, Jordan High School Principal, Casey Ward and Charles Epps, choir directors at Northside and Jordan High Schools, Columbus, and Smith Station area churches who are represented by members of their choirs, and to Mr. Gator Kincaid and Gator Media of Valley, Alabama. Have a great evening and happy Veterans Day. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Oliver Boone would like to speak to the audience just a minute.
Thank you. The